Excuse my noisy coffee pot if you hear it in the back, but we have to have this conversation because most of us as men, if you've lived long enough, we've overlooked a tremendous amount of red flags in women because of access to pre-owned, because she was hot, because she was sexy, because she aroused us. But deep down inside, you knew that woman was batshit crazy. I've done it, you've done it, and we've experienced the pain and torture from it. It's about the convenience, it's about the feeling of being wanted, needed, desired, or just that the woman is damn sexy. And we're saying, you know what? Maybe I'll hit it a few times and try and escape through the back door. Some guys fall in love. Some guys marry these women. You see it overseas all the time. Some guys, not all, some guys, they'll meet a woman. She'll be a bar girl. She'll be whatever. Guys just can't be in their own comfort company because their life is validated by having a woman. There goes my coffee pot. And this is why I always tell men, the solution to your problems is looking at you in the mirror. You ain't lonely, you just haven't suffered enough. Loneliness is just horniness turned upside down. It's a psychological mindset and mentality. And we want to get to the point where we get rid of this scarcity mentality. Global travel is great, but only if your self-esteem and your foundation is strong. You're comfortable being alone. You're in love with your own company. That takes time to build that self-esteem. I don't put women in these videos. That doesn't mean I don't consume. I'd be a lying son of a bitch if I told you I don't consume women. I'd be lying. But that's not the point of this channel. Because see, if I put women and all guys sees the women, these vessels around, the focus becomes about the women, not about what needs to be fixed in our heads, in our minds, in our body, in you know, the things that we do for ourselves, with ourselves, without any women involved, whether you're married, single, or whatever else. What it is, how do you feel about yourself? What do you do for yourself? How do you take care of yourself? Because nobody's going to take care of you like you. You know, no one's coming to save you. You're a man, you're on your own. Whether you're single or married, you're still a single man. Because most of the times when shit's the fan and push comes to shove, you're going to be on your own 9 times out of 10. You have the anomalies, we have the exceptions to the rule, and guys will say all kinds of situations and give antidote situations, whatever else. That's your situation. Congratulations, man. You're a superhero. You're better than us. But the rule in life. And how do you do? You have to experience. I use intermittent fasting sometimes, but you have to. It's the discipline. It's the ability to say no. It's the strength. It's to go against many times your own nature and your desire. Men, we love women. We were raised to love women. We were raised to take care of women. It's part of our natural masculine nature as men. So it's our nature. Guys get, they're in love with the purpose, the feeling needed, feeling desired, feeling wanted, feeling all these emotions and feeling wanting to be together with women. But many times, if you're not careful as a man, you may pick up the wrong woman. And you might just make a superficial decision, because when you deal with an environment in the West where manhood and masculinity is disrespected all the time, and you're dealing with a lot of vicious, man-hating, man-crunching, man-gnawing, man-biting feminists, some of them with serious mental illness and issues because we don't really hold women accountable in this country. And finally, one woman shows you some semblance of niceness, affection, sex. But she's barking at the moon at night. She's crazy as shit. 3 years ago, you found out that she threw a couple of cylinder blocks to her ex's window and chased him with a machete. But her ass is fat, her waist is snatched, her body looks good, and she's draining your poison. She's riding you till your eyes almost roll back in your head. The sex is great. Everything is wonderful in your life. But she's crazy as a bag of dust. But she's playing the game. And a guy who doesn't have the discipline, the mindset, the mentality to do a whole facts report on the woman and check out and not focus on, oh, well, she might be different from me. That was her past. She's changed. And right now we see now with the church, the rebranding of women, going back and, dipping themselves in the holy water and cleansing themselves of all that, the trauma, whatever else. Okay, women don't usually, in America, in the West, not all women, they don't get better. They just become better victims. They could become better of hiding their trauma. They become better manipulators. Because what is a society? This is basically a gynocentrism and gynocentric environment. It's a society. They go, after they have done harm and damage and trauma, or they've been traumatized by other men, they go to the coalition. The coalition makes them a victim, rationalize all their beliefs. They go to therapists. Therapists that sit there and listen to them and validate all of their victimhood, never holds them accountable, because holding them accountable is unprofitable. So you end up with somebody unhealed. They probably send them to a psychologist, psychiatrist, and get them some medicine. And that's it. Nothing ever changes with them. No, because there's no accountability for their behaviors. So happens now? They meet you. They already think the problem was the men before you. They haven't changed. They haven't gotten better. Who do you think is going to get the raft of all that mental illness? You're basically dealing with a slick talking or manipulative, we call them EDPs, emotionally disturbed person. We see borderline personality, narcissist personality, and then you add social media and an environment infested with jellyback simps, bigging her up, likes, the portal of delusion, the illusion of options, telling her how wonderful she is and how she don't need to change nothing about herself and how wonderful she is. And then she meets you. She needs her resources. She's getting older. She wants a man to take care of her. She has these visions and mindset of what men's supposed to be doing, because that's all they talk about. That's all the panda bears talk about. That's all these men, the Gaskins, the Tooney, the Derek Jacksons, all these men, the whites, I don't care what race they are. It's the same. We have the same men pimping women. The internet pimps right now. It's big business. You tell women what agrees with them. Make them all victims, because there's no profit in them not being victims. Make them all victims. Make it all men's fault, and you can make money. Period. That's just the way the game is played. And so there's no real change. It's very rarely do you find women change in America and the West. In fact, I believe many times they become worse because they can live in the bubble of delusion. Overseas, you have a situation where you're dealing with many times a situation of survival. Great actors. And what happens with a lot of guys is when they go overseas, you need to be single for a while. And if you have the resources, you need to hire a woman to help you navigate the dating and relationship scene. I'll be honest with you. There are professional women that do that job for you. I seen my man over there, the Isan Farang over in Thailand. His wife does that. She has a dating service. She can investigate these women's families, their past histories, their debt, their issues, and put you in a good situation. The guys don't want to pay her, what's the equivalent of 10,000 baht? That ain't nothing. That's $250 to vet somebody. Use a person who speaks that local language and who has experience in the culture. You go to another country and you want to you might want to sit down and have a conversation with a lawyer that puts you in the social circle that the lawyer's in. You can share it from a good lawyer and let them give you legal advice about cultures, about the environment, about people. Show you around. The first thing you're going to do is a lot of guys get thirsty. They're going to run straight to nothing wrong with, look, if you're going to get tuned up. But don't be getting in love with the workers. But getting back on topic, it really comes down to how a man feels about himself. Is he willing to give up self-respect for access? Self-respect for access to that pre-owned, even if it's attached to a crazy broad. Let me tell you something. No matter how good a woman looks, there's some dude down the street somewhere that can't stand it. That's the problem with post-nut clarity. When you get post-nut clarity depression, any man with self-esteem understand the suffering that the guy who realizes that he just pounded out an empty, mindless, useless vessel. She looks good, but that's all she got. That body is all she got. She don't even wear a real face. As soon as you're done pounding her, she's on the phone, probably on TikTok, watching Instagram, TikTok reels. She don't do nothing. She has no skills and has no knowledge about how to take care of a man that takes care of her. So you have basically invested your time, energy, and resources in acquiring a load, dead weight. Now that my coffee pot is gone, what is the sound you hear? Oh, let me tell you something, man. Peace is beautiful. This is it. I mean, the ducks is on the river in the backyard. It's like, let me tell you something. Peace for me is a sexual experience, but that's a whole nother story. Guys, we need to talk about that. I told you, I'm married to peace. Peace is my bitch, but I am. We're not going to go in detail about my love affair with peace. And I love peace. Peace is beautiful. You know, I give you an example. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. But I'm sitting here right now talking to you guys. So I told you before, I want you to listen to the sound of peace. Listen. It's beautiful. I love peace. Isn't that shit sexy? That's better than any woman. Listen to that. That's better than looking than any woman I've ever seen on this planet. Listen to that sound. Oh. People wonder, like, how come a peaceful life? How come you have so much energy in the morning time? It's because of this. And when I go inside and sit down, oh, I'm sorry, peace is better than sex. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. You guys can give me in the comment section. Let me close that up. I tell you, I ain't never met a woman in my life better looking than peace. Peace is beautiful. Gentlemen, you got to get used to falling in love with your own company. Close that up. Falling in love with your own company is critical to your survival. Where anybody who comes into your company, that is volatile. You trade in I get it. I understand the feeling inside. Men and women were designed to be together. That's nature. But the question is that woman adding to the peace that you already have in your life? Or is she just taking away resources and happiness? And because most relationships, especially in the West, it's a one-sided affair where they have trained women that men are supposed to do all these things, including be their emotional tampon and girlfriend, but then don't tell them what they're supposed to be doing for you to reciprocate energy and value. So most men, even married men, they're in relationships by themselves. Every day, they're looking at this woman, and they say, I'm paying all these bills, all these expenses, and I am what an absolute disrespectful, dishonorable load. But men are loyal. Men make commitments and they try to stick them out. They'll try to work through things. And this is why I tell you, developing the strength. And that's difficult for many men, especially when they have kids. Kids, that's something different. Some guys would have to just write it out until them kids turn 18 to 21. Some guys, because they're just in too deep. They cannot afford to take that L with their kid, or they're worried about, guys are very protective. They don't want other men around their kids, especially they just don't want, boys or girls, it don't matter now. They don't want nobody around their kids because they stay in the house and they deal with a lot of bullshit. But many times it's just best not to get waist deep into a relationship with these EDPs, many of them. Is, prevention is the best cure. And your skill and your talent, and more so, where men make the mistake is on the emotional level. Some of these guys are very sharp, very intelligent, have very good jobs, very intelligent, smart men. I meet them all the time. But it's the emotional discipline is where they tell you take an L. It's the emotional discipline. So this channel focuses on the emotional discipline, the mindset, the mentality, the strength, and eliminating that scarcity. Now, global travel can help you with that. And because the society here beats men down and makes them feel like they're less valuable. Even these stupid ass jellyback simp who measure their manhood and their masculinity by their ability to acquire pre-owned used box, you jellyback simp. A guy even my age talking, I get bitches and I get box. You lose my respect immediately when you use box as a measure of your, I got more women. I used to get women. You don't hear me talk about that bullshit. Why? Because I know box is about the equivalent of $20 to $50 out there in the street. Imagine you bragging about the ability to get something that's worth $20, $50. That's a loser. Now, if you told me that, look, I changed the head gasket on my car in the parking lot of an AutoZone, I'm like, holy shit. I'm impressed. You develop some solution to some problem in life with your competency, and all of a sudden you've solved some scientific problem. I'm like, holy shit. But you told me you got a bitch to have sex with you? Get the fuck out of here, you sorry ass jellyback simp. I get it. You want to talk to me about women, you're going to insult in terms of your ability to acquire pre-owned. You're going to be, I'm just going to look at you and I'm going to walk away. You know what I mean? Now, we're talking about just having a general conversation. But if you're beating on your chest about acquiring pre-owned box, I'm going to say you need to have your mind examined as a grown man, and you go see my brother to coach your condition. Because we're bigger than that as men. I mean, even if a guy, you got to say, look, they call these guys incel. Man, we could solve that incel problem in one day. A peaceful life, you have you with some pre-owned immunity. Quickly, we'd be like, oh shit, I can't take any more pre-owned A Peaceful Life. Stop chasing me down the street with them 304s. Like, yeah, you had enough? Huh? You had 10 in a day. Now you had enough? You gonna stop worshiping pre-owned? Huh? You gonna stop worshiping box? You had enough? I got one more whore for you. You had enough? You gonna stop worshiping bitches and become a man? Huh? How many nuts can you bust in a day? You had it? You had enough? Now you feel liberated. Be like, oh. Welcome to masculinity and manhood and living life on your own terms. You've liberated yourself, emancipated yourself from pre-owned box. And now you can say no to anything that comes into your space that doesn't offer you value. You can say no to the crazy broads. You can say no to, I'm not saying men should do that. There's other ways of doing that without the contamination. Anyhow, now you can say no to disrespectful women that don't respect you. Now you don't have to settle and take a woman just because she looks a certain way and walks a certain way, and you know that that woman is crazy as shit, and she's going to tear up your shit, or she's going to be causing problems, and if you dare one day to breed with her, you're probably going to end up on a restraining order, or you have to put her on a restraining order. But because you've just allowed some human being into your life that is mentally unstable. Gentlemen, prevention is the cure in many of these instances, and it all comes down to how we feel about ourselves. That has to be checked mentally before we get into relationships with women. That's it. And because dudes be horny, and they be like, oh man, no one can talk them out of it. They be like, I finally got a woman overlooking red flags that gives me consistent pre-owned box. They disconnect with a group of, with a brotherhood or friends or people or anybody can give them advice. You can't tell people, these guys, even the most intelligent one, you can't tell them nothing. They finally get somebody to give them consistent pre-owned, and their brain is gone. Shit, they'll they won't talk to you no more. Cuss you out. They might even try to beat your ass. You know, you can't correct them. That's why I make this video. I don't say anything to dudes when I see they're going, unless they ask me a question specifically, because I know the power of that pre-owned, the power compels them to not think logically and rationally, and they will do things that they would not normally do. So I just wait. There's a, hopefully there's a, these types of videos has planted the message in their brain, and in that struggle, in that they can overcome that urge and that desire to compromise their self-respect and their dignity. And they'll say, oh shit, I remember that video Peaceful Life made. I'm doing that same shit. And for some of you guys, you gotta understand too, if you guys, especially you single guys, build your own empire. No need to take care of another man's empire if you have your own kids. I mean, if you don't have kids. There's a woman somewhere in this globe that is a fit for you if you want to have a family. You don't have to take on other men's responsibilities. Build your own empire. No need to pay off another man's debt. Now, I'm an older dude. I personally don't deal with, like if I deal with a woman that's older, she may have a kid that's already raised or adult. But I'm not even, she's living in, no, she has to have a grown kid or she has to have no kid. That's my personal standard. I don't deal with women that have kids at home or whatever else, raising kids or whatever else, or kids hanging around. Because I have that choice. I don't have to take any deals that I don't want. Sometimes the option is none of the above. The best option is none of the above. You don't have to get with this, or you don't have to get with that. You can get with none of the above. I can play this game of staying single in my beautiful, quiet place until the day I die. I don't have to take any of the above deals. Who said that you needed a woman to be a man? Now, you can enjoy pre-owned. And if you spiritual people that are coming here and lecture you, who told you that I celebrated who told you that your religion is my religion? Why do you assume I believe what you believe? Isn't that communism? You can't religious me. The audacity for you to think that my religion and your religion is the same religion? Communism. You don't have to make a choice. Women are on some biological clock. You're not. I'm 51, about to be 52 this year. If I wanted to, I could start a whole new family. Even though I would never do that. My boys are grown men. I ain't doing that shit. Kick rocks with that. I've been up at 4 o'clock in the morning checking on crying babies already. I've worked the 16-hour days. It'll be a cold day in hell before I start all over again, taking care of a whole new group of family or kids or whatever else. I can choose none of the above. Used to me walking in the park with my camera, they can call me an incel or whatever. Some 6'8" dude retired at 46 years old, living life like this. You see me back there dunking on the wall, and now I'm an incel, married, for almost a decade, 2 kids, and now all of a sudden, peaceful life, you're an incel. You guys can't get no box. I find that hilarious. You can't get no box? So what? Now, what's your problem? What else? You said we can't get box. So what? And I asked him, well, why is your self-esteem so low that you think that your ability to get box makes you a man? That's what I always asked him. You tell me that your whole life is centered around your ability to get stink, a little bit of, box. That's how you measure your manhood, dude. And I get into the psychological game sometime with no guy. Damn, dude. What is your skill? What is your competency? What do you do for a living? Where are you from? So you basically saying that you validate yourself as a man by your ability, and this is a standard of excellence for you to acquire something that's worth $50 or $20 on the street. That makes you a man. And we have these conversations like, man, whoa, that's some serious issue, man. I say we recommend to go see the coach or clinician because we're going to rebuild your manhood and your masculinity on some substance and a stronger foundation. Because as a grown ass man, you're still out here flexing your manhood and your masculinity and thinking that your ability to get women to have sex with you makes you some type of champion out here. When these women out here are sexually liberated and just passing it out like some Skittles to anybody that's willing to pay them, because again, CGA is right, monetized dating and relationship market, pay them a fee to have access to their body. They're selling it. What do you think they're talking about? Requiring $250 for a date, requiring men to make XYZ amount of salary and all this money. They're standards, but also too, it's prostitution. It's monetized dating relationship. It's what it is. I mean, let's have no delusions about it. But anyhow, with that being said, we have carb weather soon. I'm getting my day started. My coffee is finished. Peace is beautiful, gentlemen. Enjoy your peace. Protect your peace. No pre-owned box is worth living in an insane asylum with some crazy ass, batshit crazy broad. Whatever you see out there, we see her, there's something around the corner that looks just as good as better with good mental health. Especially if you got a little bit of bread in your bank account, you can travel around the globe and enjoy your peace and freedom. And if you meet somebody, you certainly will meet a lot of women, a lot of people. The globe is your playground. You don't have to settle for nothing. But sometimes the best choices is none of the above. Enjoy your single life while you're single. A peaceful life is not anti-relationship. I'm pro-relationship. I'm anti-torture. Peace is beautiful, gentlemen. Peace for sexual tribe. Enjoy your day. I'm out. I got to get this day started. I'm over here talking. I should be on the way to the gym. Take care, gentlemen. Make sure you hit the like button.